Nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can say.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today in the presence of these witnesses to join Richard Curtis and Michelle Shaw in matrimony, committed to be honorable among all, and therefore is not to be entered into lightly, but reverently, passionately, lovingly, and solemnly. Into this, these two persons present and now come to be joined. If any person can show just cause why they may not be joined together, please speak now, or forever hold your peace. From Captain Corelli's Mandolin, we have a reading. It is by Louis de Bernier. We have a definition of love. Love is a temporary madness. It erupts like volcanoes and then subsides. And when it subsides, you have to make a decision. You have to work out whether your roots have so intertwined together that it is inconceivable that you should ever part. Because this is what love is. Love is not breathlessness. It is not excitement. It is not the promulgation of promises of eternal passion. It is not the desire to mate every second minute of the day. It is not lying awake at night imagining that he is kissing every cranny of your body. No, don't blush. I am telling you some truths. That is just being in love, which any fool can do. Love itself is what is left over when being in love has burned away. And it is both an art and a fortunate accident. The exchanging of rings is a symbol of love and faithfulness. As you place it on your partner's finger, you commit your heart and soul to each other. The rings you wear are a reminder of the vows you will speak today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are all here today to celebrate an event 17 years in the making. We are here to celebrate the union of Richard Curtis and Michelle Shaw. Some of you are probably thinking, finally. Finally, perhaps. Because it has been over 17 years since they first fell in love on a bus heading to Glendora High. 17 years. Think about that for just a second. On the list of things that were popular 17 years ago, Pogs. Anyone?
everybody actually does. Yes, that's amazing.
The Macarena was the current dance craze. Tom Cruise had just made his first Mission Impossible movie. Michael Jordan was still playing basketball. Some of you aren't even 17 yet. Richard and Michelle have already been a couple longer than a lot of marriages last, especially if you're a celebrity. Finally. Yet I would argue with you today that finally would be incorrect. Those of you familiar with the etymology of the word finally know that the root of the word is fin, meaning end or limit. I would argue today that by being here in front of friends and family to acknowledge their love for one another, Richard and Michelle are anything but ending, and their love is anything but limited. Yet shall we say this is the beginning? I humbly suggest, perhaps argue is too strong a word, that this isn't a beginning either. I have known these two since I was 13 years old. We've all spent quite a bit of time together, be it on the bus, in high school, or in drama, or just at their house watching movies. And yet, even with all that time, there are still things that I didn't know. I didn't know that in high school, Richard used to walk to Michelle's house to then walk her to the bus stop in the morning. I didn't know that this park is mere inches away from the spot where they had their first kiss. In light of what I already knew, added to what I didn't know, beginning seems so completely inadequate. It is said to become an expert in something, one must put in a minimum of around 10,000 hours. We can't possibly be the beginning of something that has had the equivalent of 35,000 hours invested. So where does that leave us? I believe that it leads us exactly where it should. To the simple truth that we've all known for all these years. That Richard is in love with Michelle, and she with him. This is their wedding, happening not a moment too late, nor is it early. It is happening precisely when they mean for it. It's a fairy tale ending, except in this one the groom wears Crocs and the bride hides her tennis shoes under her dress. We have now come to the point where vows are exchanged. After 17 years, you come to find that your vows often add little bits of specificity. The vows of marriage are not to be taken lightly. They are the foundation on which a solid marriage is built. They are promises spoken aloud and witnessed by friends and family. As you listen to these vows, remember the covenant they invoke with your partner in this journey that you now undertake. Do you, Richard Curtis, take Michelle Shaw to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, to cook for, in dazzling evening gown or jeans and a t-shirt with tennis shoes, from this day forward, until death do you part. Do you, Michelle Shaw, take Richard Curtis to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, to help find things when he loses them, and not get mad because he didn't hear you, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish and to get amoeba-free water for at 3 a.m. because you'll know you'll have to from this day forward till death do you part. When asked to officiate this wedding, I searched for texts that would somehow encapsulate all the different things that love meant. I searched through such weighty tomes as Goodnight Moon, Dante's Inferno, and the complete Harry Potter series. I consulted legendary poets such as Shakespeare, Bronte, and Yeats. I listened to legends such as Jackson, Lennon, and Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And finally, when I had nearly exhausted all of my sources, I found one source to summarize, and it is called the Book of Love.
The Book of Love is long and boring.
No one can lift the damn thing. It's full of charts and facts, some figures and instructions for dancing. But I love it when you read to me. And you can read me anything. The Book of Love has music in it. In fact, that's where music comes from. Some of it is just transcendental, and some of it's just really dumb. But I love it when you sing to me. And you can sing me anything. The Book of Love is long and boring, and written very long ago. It's full of flowers and heart-shaped boxes, and things we're all too young to know. But I love it when you give me things. And you ought to give me wedding rings. And I love it when you give me things. And you ought to give me wedding rings. Marriage is perhaps one of the biggest and most complicated adventures that we embark upon. It involves the willingness to get naked. But by naked, I don't mean the removal of clothing. I mean the willingness to trust another soul with your deepest feelings, secrets, thoughts, and emotions. It is an institution that is biologically absurd. Finding one's life companion in high school is mathematically improbable. But this is what makes humanity and marriage beautiful. It is not guided by instinct, but choice. It is, in essence, one of the most beautiful and universal things we have to show that we are human. And now, it is time for your journey together. Not to start, not to end, but to continue on that beautiful path it started 17 years ago under the shade of the big tree. By the power vested in me through the state of California and the Universal Life Church, I hereby pronounce you husband and wife.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. and Mrs.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow. Why, oh why can't I?
Presenting, for the first time anywhere except for the wedding you were at earlier, Mr. and Mrs. Richard Curtis.
The book of love is long and boring. No one can lift the damn thing. It's full of charts and facts and figures and instructions for dancing. But I love it when you read to me, and you can read me anything. The book of love has music in it. In fact, that's where music comes from. Some of it's just transcendental, some of it's just really dumb. But I love it when you sing to me, and you can sing me anything.